like that.
Okay, you hear me now? We good?
I hear you loud and clear. A 1 2, a 1 2.
And you know that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Al Mecca, and we got the legendary Donald D from the Bronx
Yeah,
Syndicate. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm feeling good, feeling irie up here on the Al Mecca Lounge.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I love these hip hop conversations. I think you guys need to be heard. Got some serious, serious stories to tell, and just
Word
inspiring.
up.
People need to know what's going on with you. So I'm gonna start out here.
Right.
When you was a kid, what was it
Mm-hmm.
like up in the Bronx and the music scene that just really kind of got you going?
Well, you talking about pre-hip hop growing up or during the hip hop?
Right, right
Because
before you really got into hip hop, like what was your thing?
well, I mean, growing up in the Bronx, have you seen any of the videos of how the Bronx looked way back in the day? Or a good example would be from Wild Style or B Street, the condemned buildings, the abandonment, just poverty stricken, us kids trying to find something to do outside of playing street games. We play street games is what kept us occupied up until when we heard Kool Herc come out playing music in the parks.
Mm. So you just run around having fun, then all of a sudden, what's going on
Yeah,
over there?
exactly. Yeah, the first time I saw Kool Herc was at a park called 129, which was a schoolyard
Mhm.
up the street from me. And I didn't know what it was. I just know he was playing some music. Somebody got on the microphone, and, that was something that I had never seen. Because up until then, there was soul music in our household, whether it was, James Brown music, The Temptations, Sam Cooke, all this music that my mom was playing around the house. So I heard records that was played in the house played outside at a Kool Herc jam. So that was very intriguing.
Okay. So when did you start getting active into it? Like, all right, I think I want to try to do something with some music.
Well, that didn't start to when I, met my childhood friend, Easy AD, who became a member of the Cold Crush Brothers. We used to play on the same basketball team at the Boys Club
Hmm.
on Hoe Avenue in the Bronx. And there was a guy who sat at the door of the Boys Club who checked your number from your membership card when you walked inside the Boys Club. And he'll be sitting there with a big boom box of break beats. And his name was DJ Rashid. And then one day he asked me and AD, did we know how to rhyme? And we told him, yeah. And we never rhymed in our lives, but we decided to tell him, yeah. And the rest was history, man.
Wow. So you had a nice jump shot. You was point guard. Well, you're doing a little basketball, huh?
Yeah. I was more of a shooting guard. I didn't really run the point. AD was more of a point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had a nice jump shot from hitting the backboard. I was good
Okay.
with that fiberglass. I was very good with that fiberglass. Growing up back then, some of my basketball buddies was Ed Pinckney, who wound up playing with Villanova, and they beat
Mm.
Georgetown in the finals. Fred Brown also, who played at Georgetown, went to basketball camp playing against a young Chris Mullins.
Wow.
So, growing up in New York, yeah, we balled,
Wow. You dropped some names on that. Some serious
Yeah,
hoopers. Yeah. So
some Hall of Famers and some legendary college players, man.
so what was it that made you not really pursue ball over music?
Well, I mean, basketball was not even my first sport love. Baseball was my sport. I
Oh,
played baseball. I was high school, all city, all state. So yeah, I thought that was going to be my path, my mission. But I got sidetracked from that. Once hip hop left the community and went downtown. But to go back a little ways, it was I was rhyming. Me and Easy AD, we rhyming, and we're just like a local group. But until I saw Busy B Starsky on the mic at a Disco King Mario jam, is what really gave me the focus to want to be on the mic and rock them fresh rhymes. Because I remember the first time I saw Busy B, I wrote down every word he said on a brown paper bag, and I would say his rhymes at our parties, you know, until someone called me out and said, yo, you biting Busy B rhymes. And that's when I went home and I wrote my first rhyme, you know, and started writing my own.
That's dope.
Yep.
You like, I'm doing this hip hop thing and later for the sports.
Yeah. I was still playing. It was both, you know, I was still playing both. I was doing both.
Okay, that's what's up. So at what point did you decide you really want to take this thing seriously?
Man, once the hip hop got down to the Roxy's, man. So you talking about 83?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the Roxy's hanging out one night, and I'm talking, having a conversation with Phase 2, the legendary graffiti artist Phase 2. And at that time, he had made a record called At the Roxy's. And I was just trying to, you know, pick his brain on how you got a chance to make a record. Because before that, there had already been groups that I had did parties with, whether it was the Furious Five had already recorded records, the Funky Four, you know, the Fantastic had made recordings. So, you know, the Sugar Hill had already made records. So I wanted to do that. But before that, I was in a group called the Funk Machine, which was DJ Africa Islam, Jazzy J, DJ Superman, and the MCs was LJ, Kid Vicious, and I. So we didn't graduate to that part of making records. So the other two MCs stopped rhyming, and I was still going because I was added late to that group. So after talking to Phase, he told me, yo, you know, you got to talk to DST. He's the man up at Celluloid Records. So I approached D. I talked to him. He said, yo, if you want to make a record on Celluloid, it's going to take about 2 years. And I was like, 2 years? He was like, man, I got a lot on my plate. Because at the time, you know, he had his group, the Infinity Rappers. He had his solo stuff. He was producing stuff for BAM. He had Shango, Time Zone, Fab Five Freddy. So, you know, he had a lot on his plate. So it was a 2-year wait. But at that same time, we were doing a radio show called the Zulu Beats. DJ Africa Islam, DJ Red Alert. And the owner of Entertainment Records came up to the station because I used to do live rhyming over the radio as Africa Islam was playing the beatbox. So he heard me rhyming, came up to the station, asked me if I wanted to make a record. I said, I'm down. So I thought he wanted to put me and Islam in the studio. He said, nah, I got this idea of this group called the B-Boys. I got a DJ named Chuck Chill Out. So I told Islam, yo, this guy want me to make a record, this and that. So Iz was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Go make the record. When you make it, bring it back to the station. I'm going to play it. So I went in the studio with Chuck, and we made some classic early B-Boy records, man.
Man, that's incredible. That had to be a hell of a feeling.
Yeah. We made some of the most sampled records in music history, man, whether it was the 2-3 break or the Rock the House show, you know? So many people sample those lyrics, man, you know?
Yeah, to this very day, you still hear a lot of them samples. Wow.
Oh, yeah, Rock the House, y'all, man. I think Lisa and the Co-Jam were the first to put it in one of their songs, and from there, it just caught the wave of everybody wanted Rock the House, y'all, in their songs, man.
Wow. So you guys just pretty much had you know, New York just on fire at that point.
Yeah, at that time, I mean, we were growing. So yeah, I remember our first show we did, I think it was with New Edition and LL. Because at that time, New Edition had Candy Girl and LL had I Need a Beat out. So, but we didn't really blow up until we made a song called Girls. So you fast forward to 1985, Chuck Chill Out leaves the group, we had another MC in the group named Brother B, and we make this hit song called Girls, man, and that caught fire to where we got to tour around, you know, the country with artists like the Boogie Boys, the Bad Boys, Dougie
Yeah.
Fresh and Slick Rick, Sparky D. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. So what was the money like back then when you doing these shows now? How was the money rolling in?
Not like today. you know, I mean, I always say that's the era of where none of the artists knew the business. We all wanted to do the music, but we didn't know the business side. No one was educating us on publishing, points, royalties, advances, how much we was getting paid a show. So we all went through that early stage of, we say, we all got jerked, whether it was artists that was on Sugar Hill Record and Joy Records, Tommy Boy Records, Entertainment. We all went through that. So was we making a lot of money from shows? Not really, but it got our names out there, and our music from them early days became classic hits that still hold weight to this day.
Yeah, you guys became iconic figures. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now, did you really think that hip hop would really take off the way it did? Like, or you was just like, man, this is what I'm enjoying doing, and it just was like, all right, what the hell is going on? This train's moving pretty damn fast.
Right. I don't think none of us saw it going beyond the blocks. Even when you made records, you didn't think it was going to go beyond the blocks. So we all did it for fun. It was all about the peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Mm-hmm.
So did we think it was going to be some major phenomenon? Because you think major labels wanted no parts of it. So you had independent record companies putting out this music, having young teenage boys making records and getting no part of the, the finer resources of it. So did we think it was going to become a worldwide phenomenon? No. Nobody saw any of the elements of hip hop becoming big until slowly but surely hip hop elements started creeping in, say, commercials, or got its way into movies, where you think the first things to jump off was the B-boys getting into movies and everything. So that's when I think some of us started thinking it can go beyond the block. So that was the start of it.
Now you ended up with Ice-T's Rhyme Syndicate. How did that come about?
Well, that started in 1985. Africa Islam had an extra ticket to go to LA. He asked me, did I want to go? I got on a plane, went to LA. I meet Ice-T for the first time. I was intrigued because, like I said, we were putting out rap songs and not making no money. I get to LA, Ice-T ain't got no hit songs, but he's driving around in the Porsche. So I'm trying to see, man, okay, he's rhyming. He's done the breaking movies. What part of the game is this? So we basically hit it off and became friends from 1985. And then you fast forward to 1986. He comes out to New York and spend time hanging out with us. Melly Mel, Kaz, Busy B, Bronx Style Bob, Africa Islam. We had a group called the Zulu Kings. And so we're doing the Zulu King. We're doing shows around New York. And what happened was his Rhyme Pays album was supposed to have been a Zulu King album. But being that a lot of us were still connected to other labels, Ice-T was the only one that didn't have no other label that was sweating him. So that became his first album. So in '87, he calls me, Africa Islam moves out to LA, and they call me just basically trying to find out information on Scott LaRock.
Okay.
Because you remember 1987, he gets shot, and he dies.
Right.
So they were just trying to find out. So during that conversation, Ice-T drops it about starting the Rhyme Syndicate of merging the East Coast hip hop with the West Coast, but not only the rappers, but also the graffiti artists, the B-boys, and the DJs. So that conversation turned into, you know, the Rhyme Syndicate Coming Through album. And in 1988, I officially moved out to LA.
Wow, and you figure that was like an unprecedented move and so far ahead of its time to really merge the coasts together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because no one else was doing it. I mean, if you look back
Nobody.
in that time period of hip hop, it was basically New York and Cali that was
Right.
really doing. You didn't have all those other cities really catching on to it, putting out records. So we kind of, I think, us New Yorkers reshaped the hip hop scene of Cali, especially LA. We kind of brought what we were doing in New York and the vibe of the Roxy's and transformed it to LA. So Africa Islam moves out there. Grand Mixer DST moves out there. I'm out there. Grandmaster Caz comes. Prince Whipper Whip. Special K. You know, so it was like hip hop pioneer icons started moving west, and you know, we set that foundation for others to follow.
Wow, that's crazy because I never knew that there was a movement like that, a transition to where all these guys who started this thing like, all right, let's just go out here and
Right.
make it great.
And yeah, you can't beat Cali, man. You talking about the inner city of New York, tall buildings, rats running around, dirtiness, crime, or the beach life of LA, palm trees and Soul Train. You can't beat that, man. And we were all living in Hollywood. So going from the South Bronx to Hollywood, come on, man.
Yeah,
Life
it's
was
like that.
lovely.
Like I ain't never going back.
Ah, I never looked back, you know.
Man, that's incredible. Like, and like
Yeah.
I say, that probably is what helped really kick off that whole culture out there. Because
Yeah.
you see, especially that early West Coast, it was real lot of heavy traditional b-boy flavor.
Right. Because that was the foundation. They were following what we were doing back on the East Coast up until, I guess I'd say the shift could have been with NWA shifting it to another style of rap
Right.
from what they were doing with the gangster rap. But, you know, Ice-T was doing gangster rap, but it was kind of like sounding East Coast. It didn't have that sound of what Dre and them was doing. So
Right.
we were there, but we reshaped it, man. And then we opened up a nightclub out there called Water the Bush, which I said we brought that vibe of what we were doing at the Roxy's in the early days of hip hop to California, and everybody was loving it, man. We were breaking a lot of new artists before they were famous. We had Naughty by Nature before they were known. You know, we had De La Soul, we had Jungle Brothers coming in through there, and so on. We had a lot of early hip hop artists coming through our clubs and politicking and performing.
What would you say was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from that era that you still kind of keep with you to this day?
From which era? Of New York era of hip hop?
Yeah, just really like the late 80s, early 90s.
Repeat that question?
What was one of the biggest lessons you had learned that you still just kind of keep in mind to this day?
Just to stay real to who you are, man, and not have to follow the trend of what everybody else was doing. So when everybody else was going right, I was going left. I was just keeping what was in my heart musically and not just trying to follow what the masses were doing, and just keeping it more of what the foundation of New York hip hop, of the peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the lessons I still go by to this day. I wound up moving to Europe some years later, and I incorporated a lot of that into what they were doing, of just that unity, because if you went to the European market, their whole foundation was based on what they saw from the Wild Style movie. So I was just educating them on some of the history, because a lot of them saw it from their eyes of watching it in a film. But then when they have someone that lived it and was there, it changed the whole scenery for most of them. So I was like, you know, that educator, just want to teach them what hip hop was back in New York, and let's do it. And let's politic and collaborate and have fun with it.
And how long were you in Europe?
21 years. I'm basically still in Europe. Right now, I'm back in America, but I'm a tourist right now.
Yeah. I just find it amazing, because I hear from a lot of people that overseas, just the way they embrace hip hop culture is totally different than what it actually is. Like we don't, you know, like what's going on with that? Like, how do they love something we created more than us?
Right. That's a great question, because they never lost the focus on what the foundation was. America kind of started focusing mainly on the rap element of hip hop. It was all about making records, and once you weren't irrelevant, they go out with the old and with the new. But in Europe, they don't look at it that way. I remember watching this documentary some years ago, and it was Jimi Hendrix. And he was talking about how in America and New York, they wasn't digging his music and what he was doing. So he moved to London, and they went crazy over his music. And I remember him saying that he would never go back to America, because that was where he saw people loving him. And I see that to this day. If you think not only the hip-hop culture was moving to Europe, you had legendary artists. I mean, before her death, Tina Turner was living in Switzerland.
Yeah.
The Weather Girls is in Europe. Donnell Williams from Kid Creole and the Coconuts is in Sweden. Then you had some of the hip hop. J-Ro from the Licks is in Sweden. J-Ro the Damages over there. DJ Lord Jazz from the Lords of the Underground is over there. You know, so, and then a lot of the graffiti artists moved over to Europe. So there was a big hip hop culture from America that's in Europe, as well as some of the early 90s R&B groups over in Europe, because you can still make a living, put out new music, and do shows, and not be judged that you're not the latest, newest.
It's like they really just appreciate the art.
Yeah.
The art of it, as to where music has become so disposable here.
Exactly.
You know, it's microwave music, and it's very interesting, because the other day I was listening to DJ Jazzy Jeff, and he brought up a good point. Like, even the music buying experience has kind of changed. You know, like there's, you know, back in the day, there was an excitement with the release of an album, whether it was rap, R&B, whatever, whoever the group was. The whole excitement of their album dropping, you know, and just going through that process. You know, now it's just, all right, hit a button, you know.
I say the same thing, because growing up, I was so intrigued with reading my mother's albums. Like, I'll take a James Brown album, and I'll be looking at the cover, turn it over, I'm flipping it. I'm reading all the names of the musicians, what studio they recorded in, who was the engineers. I was so intrigued with that, buying, and then even when I started buying my own albums, reading it, or reading other artists, rap artists' albums, of who produced it, who was making these banging beats. You know, it was such a honor to do that, or just going and digging in the crates, going to record stores, shopping for vinyl was special. Today, when you think you download an MP3, there's really nothing special about it. You streaming a record, or not even a record, a song. There's nothing, you know, or you could just go on YouTube and listen to somebody's song. It's like he said, Jazzy Jeff said, that element of excitement and just, you know, the anticipation of a release is not there anymore.
Yeah, because you're exactly right. It's like, when he said that, it just took me down memory lane. I'm like, man, I remember, like you say, going to the record store. I'm looking at the artwork, you reading the credits, who they giving shout outs to, and
Yeah.
the whole thing was an experience. You know, you getting up, leaving your house, going to the mall or the record store. It was an experience.
Yeah. And if it was a hot release, the line would be wrapped around the block to get in there to buy that record. So yeah, it's different because you had also artists go do in stores. So you had the artists go into a record shop, sit down, you know, politic with the fans, sign their records, take photos. That excitement is long gone, man.
I remember it was a record store in Akron called Two Live Music we used to go up to.
Right.
And like if you dropped on Tuesday, depending on how big the artist was, every now and then you could go to Akron and get it on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
and come on, I got it already.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man, that's crazy.
Different times, man.
No doubt, no doubt. So what does Donald D have going on now, man? Like where you at in life, my brother?
Right now, I got the new Donald D album coming out soon. Got the B-Boys album. We already put out a maxi single. We got the full album called We Get Down coming out. My album Celebrate is coming out. All this music is being released on my brother Chuck D's record label called Spit Slam Records, which is one of not so many labels that's still putting out artists from our generation. Well, you know, we're on that label, you know, Stetson Sonic is on that label, DJ Lord, Public Enemy. It's just a lot of old school artists from back in the day is on that label. Chill Rock G is on the label. And, you know, it gives us an outlet to still put out music. We're still doing shows. We, you know, should be appearing on some of these 50th anniversary shows that's coming up. Which is sad because a lot of these people has been doing a lot of 50-year anniversary shows, and they're not celebrating all 50 years of hip hop. They're only celebrating a time period of hip hop. Most likely, the ones who had hit records. They are forgetting about the first 10 years, the pioneers, the legends, the ones who were the bricklayers, the blood, sweat, and tears years where it was in the park jams and the local high schools and the community centers. They're not celebrating hardly none of them, and they're getting, and their stories are getting lost in the corporate part of the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. So I'm working with some people, Mark Anthony Jenkins, who runs the Black Expo New York, my man Tony Tone from the Cold Crush. We're putting on an event called Rock the House Worldwide, where in November we're going to honor that first 10 years of hip-hop, give them their flowers, give them awards. We're going to have concerts so that the ones who are not being seen right now during these celebrations will be on our event. So
yeah,
we want to give them their flowers.
And I think that's only right because like for me personally, that's why I wanted to do conversations so like we can get into this hip hop, because they even do like, you know, R&B legends and whatnot, but let people tell a real truth and a history, and also inspire. You know, I'm not into the clickbait, drama, gossip. That's whack. And I think we owe it to our children as well as our children's children's to tell the real truth of our music, because it's ours. Because they're not going to tell it right. They ain't told shit right historically.
Nah. And you see how everything has been switching around, the timelines of hip hop, and everything is being switched. You know, so many people coming out saying, well, it started here, started there, I started this, we started that. And, you know, they're trying to completely change the timeline of how it all started. I'm so happy. One thing I'm so happy was, which early April, I got to see my brother, which I ain't seen him in a few years, and they were honoring him in Baltimore, DJ Kool Herc, the founder of all of this. So he was out there with his sister Cindy and Coke LaRock, and I was happy. And now you fast forward some months, now they're going to honor him with the one of the highest honors with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So bravo to them for acknowledging Kool Herc, and it's well overdue for that we all got the vision of seeing this brother do what he did, and to where it became $1 billion industry. And if they don't show love, you know, that's whack.
Yeah.
Celebrating 50 years, and y'all don't talk about the one who was the first to show everybody the vision.
Yeah.
So they had to step up to the plate.
Yeah. And I do want to go check that out because, you know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland. I'm 45 minutes south.
Right. You're right. So you from where LeBron is from?
I'm right up under him. We in the 330, but like I'm from Canton, he's from Akron. Akron from
yeah, you said Canton.
Yeah.
Because I told you about Tony King.
Yeah, Tony King. Shout out to Tony King. Yeah, I told you I knew of him. I didn't know him personally, and I know quite a few people, man. That's a real stand-up guy. But
man, you know, his story, his journey of playing in the NFL to becoming an actor, to being head security of Public Enemy is amazing. And like he said in that documentary, for that feat with him and his brother, they should be recognized and put in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So they've been overlooked, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what's right here, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Matter of fact, it's 15 minutes down the street. No, not even 15 minutes. 10 minutes down the street from me. Hop on the highway, hop off first exit, and they really got that Hall of Fame together. It's actually the Hall of Fame Village now. So if you ever in the area, it's good getaway for you and your family. It's beautiful over there, man. Yeah,
I want to go there. I mean, one of these days I want to go see it. I want to see how many of my Dallas Cowboys are located in there.
It's quite a few, and I tell you what, it's a whole lot of Dallas Cowboy fans in Canton, Ohio. Believe it or not, between Dallas, Pittsburgh, and the Browns. Yeah, I'm a Packers fan, but you know I hold my own.
Oh, Packers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, we had some battles with y'all through the years. The early Ice Bowl, and you know, Brett Favre throwing crazy interceptions, giving us the ball in the playoffs that one season. Yeah, there's been some battles. You know, Aaron Rodgers lighting us up. You know, but I just been disappointed. My Cowboys ain't been good since Troy Aikman, man.
It's like something just keep falling apart. I can't figure out what it is. Cause on paper, y'all will have a squad.
Yeah, on paper, we should have won a whole bunch of Super Bowl. But hey,
it gets to a point you gotta start looking at the person that's steering the ship.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's from the owner. The owner stepped down. Our quarterbacks, oh man, when we had Tony Romo, I hated it, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they traded Dak for Russell Wilson, man. I would have took Russell. Leaving Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Aaron Rodgers right now. We need, man. In the big games, they don't show up, man. So let's see how it turns out this season.
No doubt. Yeah, definitely stay in touch, man. And like I say, you ever come through, holler at me, man. I come get with you. We hang out, make it do what it do, my brother.
Well, what's the hip hop scene down there? Yo, how they moving?
Well, you know, it's a young movement right now. Actually, I did an interview with one last week with one of our original female MCs. You know, she was like one of the first females to rap. Her name's Light Skin, Eve Fonts, you know, and we used to really get it in. It's like my man DJ Kool Kurt, he like one of the original DJs that was actually DJing, not just playing records.
Right.
You know, we used to sit in his basement, you know, me and him digging in the crates, try this, you know, always looking for samples and just we even had a basement radio show we used to record on the cassette tape.
And as a matter of fact, we had one of your Ohio alumni part of our rhyme syndicate. Bango.
Oh.
Bango, the B-Boy Outlaw, which he started his hip-hop career with him and DJ Lord Jazz of the Lords of the Underground.
Up in Cleveland,
right. And we meet Bango at the New Music Seminar when he was battling Kaz and Melly Mel and them, and he was just wilding, and Ice-T took a liking to him and then put Bango down with the Rhyme Syndicate, man. So yeah, Bango from Cleveland. He was the first to put, I don't think nobody had made a record before him. Whatever artist had made a record before Bango. Because Bango makes, so he's on the Rhyme Syndicate coming through, so that's 1988. Was there records made in Ohio before then? Hip hop?
MC Chill.
Okay, so MC Chill.
Yeah. If it's not Chill though, it's between them two. It's definitely between them two. But yeah, MC Chill.
Okay. I had to research that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's my dude. Shout out to Chill. Yeah, Cleveland, it's always had its own thing, but seeing it was a bigger city, they never really rocked with us too much.
Right.
You know how that go. But, you know, we've always held it down here. You know, I used to host parties and things like that. Because I used to live, like, when I graduated, I moved to Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
So now I'm really picking up on the vibe and the culture, you know, because I'm going to, like, the Latin quarters and matter of fact, I was at the LQ when they had the Scott LaRock Memorial Party.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you was there.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm bringing records to my man DJ Kool Kurt here, you know.
Getting them out of New York.
Yeah.
So if they ever, you know, if they doing any hip hop events down there, keep us in mind. You know, promoters want some original, authentic hip hop, man. They should be, you know, celebrate. Maybe you can get some people and y'all put it together. Combine some Ohio and some New Yorkers, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The B-boys are available.
And that's what I've been thinking, especially with the way the Hall of Fame Village is moving and they're always looking for stuff. Kevin Hart was just here a couple weeks ago in the stadium, Tom Benson Stadium. You know, and they just really trying to keep, you know, things going, especially when we get close to Hall of Fame time when they're doing the inductions. And then they also host the HBCU weekend here.
Okay.
You know,
so they ain't been celebrating no 50th anniversaries of hip hop there from the local artists?
What we gonna do, we had this thing called the Mini Park Reunion, my old neighborhood. And we had it every year, but this year, you know, we got my man Issa Ali. He gonna be spitting. DJ Kool Kurt gonna be out there. You know, we really gonna ramp it up and celebrate. Actually, I'll be going live, you know, to show our contribution to the 50 years of hip hop.
When is that gonna be?
August 5th.
Okay. Damn, August 5th. That's the Rock the Bells event in New York.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, but that's gonna be our thing, and like I always tell people, it's just all about your contribution. Just make your contribution.
Right. Because everybody has a leaf on that hip hop tree that's been everybody has contributed to it. You know, that really embrace the culture. They all deserve to have their name listed on that hip hop tree. You know?
And I will say one thing though. There are some amazing young producers in the area right now. Like these guys, they are amazing. You know.
Okay. Like what style of music are they producing?
Their own style. Like you know what I'm saying? It's not East Coast, it's not West Coast. They just trying to create these vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you got some people, man, I can listen to some of their tracks and let me hear it, man. I might can use it for some of the projects I'm working on.
Absolutely. 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 Definitely keep you.
Think of some boom bap. Think of Pharoah Monch, Simon Said, Nas Made You Look, Annie Up, Sound of the Police, those kind of beats. I like energy beats. That's going to get the crowd.
Reverberate. You feel it.
Right. You know? That's my vibe, man.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, man, I want to thank you so much for your time. You got any closing words for your fans and friends, man?
Man, I just say to all my fans that supported me throughout the years, I truly appreciate it that they never abandoned me with whatever style of music I was doing. They stayed loyal to watch out and support the new B-Boys album and the new Donald D album, and let's rock the house, y'all.
There it is. There it is. And Donald, man, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor. Like, seriously. I
You're
greatly
welcome, man.
and all your contributions that you have made. Shout out to Islam. Africa Islam just hopped in real quick.
Africa Islam was rocking the jams, and on the other side of town was a kid named Flash. What's up, Ed? Africa Islam. And I forgot to mention him. He's also in Europe. He's a German guy. He's the German DJ now. I see my man Sparky G is in here. I grew up with Sparky on 174th Street, Vice Avenue in the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know, I think I saw my man Tyree Cooper on here earlier. He's the legendary hip house from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, some of the fam had came through here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, man.
Thank you for the invite, and keep doing what you're doing, and much success to you, man.
Appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to spread love through the culture, my brother.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Peace, my brother. All right.